So you guys, I was thinking I'd just come up here and sit with you and just listen to them be funny. What do you think? Is that what we should do today? No? Not
Oh
feeling
boy.
it? Yeah. Right, all right, so go. No. But seriously, I will now earn my keep here at the Collision Conference as the people continue to pour in. Let's talk about humor.
Sure.
We'll give it a shot.
Let's talk about the power of humor to attract and engage audiences. Do you think that there's something distinctly powerful? It is a tool for good, tool for evil? Go.
I think it could be used for good or evil, and we employ it in both ways. But yeah, I think it helps you cut through the noise. There are a lot of people trying to be funny, so even it's a competitive space to be funny. Everybody thinks they're funny. Some people are right. So I would say it's maybe not as much of a differentiator for The Onion as it once was, pre-social media, 35-year-old brand. So there's, again, a lot of competitors, but yes, it's still the best way to engage with an audience in a way that builds you in a real way for them utility too, because like there's a lot of bullshit you got to read on social media, a lot of things that can bring you down. It's nice to introduce some levity to people's day or give them a more pointed view on something.
Yeah, and it's great because I think you can kind of trick people into paying attention to you.
Yeah,
if something really funny comes up on your feed, someone looks, and then, we're a satire site, so we, every headline we do, we want to say something important, hopefully. And so once we kind of trap them with the humor, we can hopefully force them to think a little bit about what we're saying, about something political, about, gender, race, any kind of huge issue.
Well, let's just go ahead and go there. Recently, you guys did something that was pretty dang remarkable in the wake of yet another school shooting. You did something you made a very bold editorial move. Do you?
Yeah, we've been doing an article since 2014. The title, which is "No Way to Prevent This," says only nation where this regularly happens. In response to the repeated gun violence, mass shootings in the United States. And it's kind of unusual to be getting so much. We've gotten a lot of praise for this execution that you're referring to, but it just felt like the natural next step. And that next step was tweeting them all out in sequence. So that's now 21 times that we've done that article. And we then mimicked that social presentation on our homepage by putting all 21 instances in the top 21 spots on our homepage. And it made a lot of impact. People noticed on Twitter almost immediately, and it got passed around. And yeah, people seem to respond to it.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, like taking a very painful, very difficult topic and saying, guys, maybe you should pay attention.
Absolutely. The point of that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please go right ahead.
The point of that joke is the repetition. The fear became, though, that The Onion itself has, at least in our neck of the woods, it feels like The Onion itself has become a part of the repetition, and thusly can be ignored, just like the problem itself. And so trying to heighten or amplify the presentation of that joke was just
it was powerful, the 21 identical headlines.
Honestly, the fear becomes like, what do we do next? Because the shootings aren't going to stop.
Let's just hope that there's not a next. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
Next week, filling
Yeah.
the next time. So let's talk about comedy right now. Like, I think everyone's always talking about how there's a easy time to write comedy, a difficult time. All times need comedy. Tell us a little bit about comedy in the woke era.
You want to start us off, Lauren? This is a frequent question that we get.
I feel like the word woke
is funny in itself. Shall we just start there?
Yeah, it definitely hurts us. I don't find it any harder to write comedy now than I did during the Trump era, during the Obama era. To me, it's all kind of stayed the same as a writer, because what I do is I look at the news, I formulate my opinion on it, I filter that through humor. And try to say something. And so, as long as that's my home base, it's never going to feel harder for me. Even as the characters come and go and get crazier and crazier, I still feel the same. But I feel like we do get labeled as a woke publication because that is just what publications are labeled now. The New York Times gets labeled as a woke publication. Washington Post gets, labeled as a woke publication. And it's just kind of a tool that the right-wing media machine can kind of use to try and make us seem like we're doing something that we're not, I
But
think.
I mean, comedy, like the writing, the process of writing remains the same.
Oh, definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, one of the things that has long remained the same, but hopefully is changing now, is comedy has traditionally been white, male, even specifically Ivy League. What's The Onion doing to diversify? What are you doing to kind of engage with newer audiences or broader audiences?
Absolutely. We've been pretty aggressive. I mean,
Yes.
going back, 5 or 6 years now, we've worked in partnership with a group called Diverse as Fuck.
Yes, that's run by
yeah.
yeah, it's great. It's run by
Fantastic.
a woman named Millie Tamarez. She's she lives in New York. She's like a comic writer. She's amazing.
Yeah, she had quite a successful career in her own right as
Yeah.
a comic and writer, but also does this kind of on the side, and
Yes.
God bless her for doing so, because she runs a comedy festival adjacent to this, but also we run free workshops with her, in partnership with her, to get writers of color in the door at The Onion, and that's, I mean, pretty much exclusively how we hire for fellowships and full-time positions at The Onion now. Still trying to be mindful of the fact that that's a bottom-up approach, and we need to find ways to get those voices elevated. So there's still progress left to be made, but step one for us was getting them in the door and allowing them to write and present their point of view.
So again, I feel that that's a terrific way also to broaden audience, to broaden reach, to reach people in new ways. But what are you guys doing in terms of, okay, The Onion's not a new brand, as you mentioned, like with so much social competition. What are you guys doing to like stay relevant, to be new? And
Well, one thing we're doing right now is we have an Onion TikTok that's launched. It's so fun. I would check it out. TikTok.com/@theonion.
Yes, use
free
your web
advertising.
browser.
Yes, I'm old.
www.
You can open up Internet Explorer.
Not anymore.
Yeah. On your Windows 98. But one great thing about The Onion that I've always loved is that as the media landscape morphs, we morph with it. So when 24-hour cable news was a huge thing, we started ONN, which kind of like mimicked that like.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because it was
Cable
very
news
funny.
was.
It was so funny.
Was. Yeah.
I'm young. But yeah, so like every time media morphs, we try to morph with it. And now that media is moving towards TikTok and more digital platforms, we are doing that as well. And it's been really fun as a writer to do that because I get to watch TikTok a lot and kind of distill down like what forms people do, like what makes them funny, how we can kind of say why those things are kind of crazy or a little bit more like evil in a way.
Well, and what's nice about this approach is like it's a great justification for us to be lazy, and by that I mean The Onion doesn't want to be first to a platform. We're
No.
satirists,
Yeah.
so like we need a platform to mature so that there are reference points that our audience will understand,
Yes.
things for us to react and respond to, and it's in terms of new platforms and new ways to engage with our audience, we kind of need those platforms to mature first, and then we arrive. And so it's a great way to not have to think about things until they're already quite big. Yeah.
So I'll just let that have a moment. Enjoy that. So is there a uniquely Onion lens that where you look at not just a topic but a platform? And what is the Onion worldview?
Ooh, big one.
Ooh. Well,
Oh, take your time. We've got 8 minutes and 50 seconds.
I mean, The Onion always views itself as this kind of like all-powerful corporation. Like we are, as far as we're concerned, the only media organization in the world. And so there is kind of this like, in
Keeping a straight face is actually impossible.
in improv, there's this term called like high status character and low status character. And The Onion is kind of always this like high status character, like we're always correct, we're never wrong, and so a lot of our jokes get written that way.
Yeah,
it's
I
in the
think-
condescension.
Right, and just to complete the thought, like not only are we a high status, but we think of you, our audience, as very low status.
Yes, we think
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
idiots.
You're big dumb
And
idiots,
we're
and you need
right.
everything spoon-fed to you.
Yes.
I'm gonna go. Or you guys, I can't help myself. I have to do this. The title of this session is "The Onion Brings You to Tears." So if this were in the Onion writer's room,
Yes.
What would we do with this title?
We can't pretend this was improvised. I'm
Yeah.
getting out my phone.
No, but I did actually
We're
just bring it to
writers.
them a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give myself some credit. This was a last-minute request, but we nailed it. And
You'll see.
so yeah, this will be kind of an approximation of our process.
Yeah.
Just minus the laughter. Please do not laugh.
I mean, there's no laughter in the room anyways.
Honestly, a brief aside, like some of our most pointed, like best jokes are approved with a yes. Like it's, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like there isn't laughter.
Wait, let me get
Yeah.
my. All right, I'm ready.
So
I'm
if you
ready.
could just respectfully not laugh, I'd appreciate it. Okay, so I'm just going to read a list as we would in the room. I'll start with the actual title here. The Onion Brings You to Tears. Next up, we have The Pivot to Stupidity, How to Dumb Yourself Down When Faced with an Unworthy Audience. We have next Herman Zwiebel presents, The Onion Symposium of Knowledge for Hopeless Idiots and Fools. Then Information in Formation, How the Onion Grew Its Audience 3 million% year over year with botnets. We have Creating a Digital Carmelo Anthony. And then The Onion Has Kidnapped Mark Zuckerberg, How to Win a Pulitzer by Ending Misinformation at the Source. So now, thank you.
Yes.
So to bring this idea home, we're now going to criticize our own work. Well, and yours. The Onion Brings You to Tears. The note that would get in the room is that that's a little bit low-hanging. Referencing the onion literally isn't something we would do, and it's kind of, we would call that first thought.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
called it an easy joke.
Yeah. You want to help me out, Lauren?
Oh, that would hurt. That would hurt.
I'm good at the criticism.
Yes.
Next one, we have The Pivot to Stupidity, How to Dumb Yourself Down When Faced with an Unworthy Audience. This comes from, like I said, a high-status character. We think you're all idiots, and we're right about it. And it also, one thing about that you mentioned earlier was like having like a reference point. And so one thing that this joke is doing, the pivot to stupidity, it kind of like uses those media terms that you see a lot in like the titles of these.
I would say ultimately we wouldn't go with something like this though, because even though we do the high status, low status thing, you truly are not a worthy target, and so we wouldn't punch down like that. So that's ultimately why would not select something like that.
Good to know.
Then Herman Zwiebel presents The Onion Symposium of Knowledge for Hopeless Idiots and Fools. This is something we've relied on a lot in the past. We're a 35-year-old brand with like kind of a mythos and backstory, and we try not to over-rely on that anymore. So like nobody knows who, only our hardcore fans know who Herman Zwiebel is, so this one wouldn't get us selected because it's a little too inside our own, and so we want to make sure that it's more widely understood.
And next we have Information in Formation, How the Onion Grew Its Audience 3 million% with botnets. Oh, sorry, with botnets. This one got a laugh, which is amazing. Sometimes that's a good thing in the room, sometimes it's a bad thing in the room. I think this is like a funny headline, but one criticism it would get is the information precolon is a little bit cute. That's a note we give sometimes where it's a little bit like punny. We try and do as few puns as possible, I would say.
Some notable exceptions in our history. Sometimes we can't help ourselves,
Oh, yeah.
but we try and stay away from it. Then Creating a Digital Carmelo Anthony. We would call that, I mean, it worked, but it's like a bit of a niche joke, and it's too self-referential to this conference itself. And we also included this one. What we were trying to illustrate is if somebody else has used a joke, we will not use it. And we have a pretty exhaustive process to check our own work against what's out there.
And then we have The Onion Has Kidnapped Mark Zuckerberg, How to Win a Pulitzer by Ending Misinformation at the Source. I think we would probably pick this one.
I think that's our winner.
Endorse.
We have a term in the room. We say when a joke kind of like punches you in the face, we call it a loud joke. And we like loud jokes because if you're scrolling through social or if you're on the website, it's kind of where your eye goes first. And we love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
So that's our winner.
Yeah.
Well, thank
And that's
you.
the onion process.
Thank you. And good night.
now you're all Onion
Yeah.
writers.
Yes, now we can all be funny, except I'm low status in this scenario. So, all right. So, have you guys ever had like a spectacular fail, or do you have fails on the regular?
Ooh. There are some spectacular fails that come to mind, but I'm going to gracefully figure out a way to not speak about them. No, I mean, yeah, we get mixed responses to our work all the time. In terms of spectacular fails, I mean, there are just some jokes that you're like kind of rooting for, knowing that we're hitting like a very particular point, when those fall flat or don't get wider distribution, or fail to overcome the algorithms, then yeah, that would be considered like a failure or what have you. But spectacular fails.
You probably don't want to share.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's fair.
We'll
That's
keep
fair.
those in the dustbin.
All right. Are there any topics that are off limits?
Certainly. There are times like it's not so much the topic as like how we go about commenting on it.
Yes.
So maybe the best answer is no, but.
Yeah.
So
The
like
classic no but.
Yeah. I mean, I truly don't mean to be frivolous or about this, but like
No, never.
dead kids,
Oh.
tough topic.
Yet you
and,
did it
and
21 times.
yeah. And so like there are ways to comment on difficult topics. You just have to make it clear what the point is you're trying to make. Now, I will also say though that it is impossible to write satire and comedy in a way that 100% of the audience is going to interpret it in the way that you intend. But we know our intent and we stand behind our work, and we have an audience that has grown to love us for doing just that.
How do you react? How do you deal with the haters?
Bitch
We-
and moan. Like we like
don't?
yeah, like my editor-in-chief and I will like see responses on social and we'll make fun of them, put them down.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we'll like react in jest. Like when Elon Musk went after us, we went back after him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a high-profile case.
Yeah, a little tete-a-tete.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
an op-ed that is by Elon Musk that is just "Please like me."
Yeah. Please like me
Yeah.
by Elon Musk.
So we'll like lightly troll.
Yeah. And that one keeps coming back. We don't have to promote it. People
Yeah.
just keep finding it.
It just
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
It's just so good. So what if you were looking around the media industry today, right? So now we're just going to step back to this stage, to the fourth estate, a little bit away from the onion, though I hate to leave you guys.
In this hypothetical, I've been forced to look at the media industry.
Sorry?
In this hypothetical, I've been forced to observe the media industry.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's the terrifying place I have just transported you.
Okay.
Okay.
What would you say we need to be most concerned about, and what should we be most excited about?
I mean, the most frustrating thing for me, and maybe the Onion writ large, is the conversation surrounding disinformation. It's frustrating to get lumped in with that. We are not intentionally trying to trick people. It can be really fun when it happens. It's like, it's fun and funny, but it's not the point of the satire. Like, if anything, we want everybody to understand the point of it and for it to hit home with everyone. So getting lumped in with disinformation when it is in fact a very real problem is an annoying trend that we kind of get herded into sometimes. Excitement around media. Oh my gosh, is there a single thing to be excited about?
I mean, I think like I'm excited about like the diversification of media as well as the diversification of our staff. I think
Excellent.
we've gotten a lot funnier because of it, and I think we're only going to keep getting funnier the more.
Right. It allows us
perspectives we
to be
can
more
hire.
expansive and comment on more things, and it just makes us more relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our time has expired.
All right.
I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. All right.